What's up, guys? Before we get started on this week's podcast, just want to let you know that normally when we record this podcast, we hold on to it and edit it to get it out on its normal day of Wednesday. We talked to the team and we thought that it'd probably be better if we get it out to you as soon as possible, just so that the information is still up to date and valid. So we're going to get this episode out to you right away. You'll see it in your feed Monday morning, and we're going to see if we can keep to that by getting the info right out to you right away. Please enjoy the episode.
All right. What's going on, everybody? This is your man, Corey. Welcome to the RPO podcast. I was on vacation last week, but now I'm back with the bros. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? It's Alex.
What's going on? It's Cody.
Good to have you back, Corey.
Appreciate you guys. Came back from Tanner, and within 24 hours, I was a lot sadder. But I guess that's just the life of an Eagles fan this year. So let's talk about some interesting topics. Currently Sunday night, we get the time 8:13, so we've already seen two dramatic afternoon games with letdowns. What happened in that Steelers game, man? How can that happen?
Now, before we get too far into this, I just want to apologize to any of our listeners that our audio is a little messed up. We're dealing with a stupid ice storm, so we weren't able to link up as a group like we usually are to record. So we appreciate you guys for bearing with us. But go on.
Storm Diego.
Yeah. What was that question again, buddy? Sorry about that.
How does what happened to the Steelers? Like, I look at it like any professional sports. Like, when you're expected to be a great team throughout the season, you can't. Not only can you not lose to bad teams, you have to destroy bad teams. It's just like, how do you leave yourself in that type of situation? Like, I understand any given Sunday, but how do the Steelers allow themselves to be in that type of position?
I think that comes down to coaching, man.
I feel like this is not the first time we've had that conversation. Mike Tomlin is given the same type of like wiggle room to me that Mike McCarthy had last week. Yeah. You win a Super Bowl, and I think Doug Peterson's gonna mess around and get the same wiggle room. Mm-hmm. But it's just like you win a Super Bowl, and it's just like, all right, well, we'll give them time to kind of fix it.
Right.
But this is the second time, like, you look at the Jacksonville playoff loss last year where Blake Bortles went nuts, and then you see Derek Carr today had like 322 yards, and he only threw 9 incompletions. So at some point, like, they're clearly not as talented as defenses pass, but they're still talented. Like, what happens with things like this?
Well, I do think we need to take into consideration before these past 2 seasons, Derek Carr was a player. He was playing really well. So he has the potential to put up numbers like that. It's just they don't really have – I mean, Jordy Nelson's on the team, but –
that's it.
Who else? Like, come on.
Yeah, so, the other guy they had just had a complete – like superstar, supernova blow-up moment against my Eagles about an hour ago. So all the other talent outside of Jared Cook, I mean, Jared Cook's been balling. He had like over 100 yards today, but outside of those two, they have no running game. Then that Marshawn Lynch is there, and then Pittsburgh just lets them run wild on.
Yep. I think every team who goes on a long run in the playoffs, there's usually one game where they don't play up to snuff, like when the Saints were all those years ago when they played Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl, they had a game where they dropped off, but then it was right back up. And that game happened to be like this year against Dallas. So we might see what happens. It's usually good to have a game that you can, kind of a check, so you get things back in order and you understand, we're not unbeatable. We need to refocus.
Exactly. And speaking of those type of moments, I think Kansas City had that type of moment this afternoon. Is Lamar Jackson the real deal, or is he just playing well within that system? I think we're lagging up. Because I can see Alex talking, but I can't hear him. We're just going to keep going because I don't think he can hear us either. But yeah, he had an excellent game. He managed the game pretty well. He's always been electric with the feet, making people miss. But that was a game that also came. There's a lot of I don't know something about this week. There's a lot of controversial calls.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think that he's playing well within that system, and they've definitely curtailed the offense to him. I watched him the whole game last week against Atlanta, and you can tell he's not there as a passer yet. He's really not there. His He's running the ball. He's just running the ball. They're using him as another running back. Mm-hmm. Although I think he is really, really like way, way too small. And they gotta find a way to fix that because he went out during part of the game against Atlanta because he had to get checked for a concussion. Mm-hmm. And sad to say, the game it is now, it's really a matter of time. If you're running like that, it's a matter of time before you get knocked out from a concussion.
You gotta protect your body. You, especially as a quarterback, you have to protect your body. But it's another one of those things where they feel like if they can, it's looking like the Ravens of old with Joe Flacco. Like we'll take an occasional shot, we'll run to protect the ball and protect time, and then we'll let our defense play defense. So talking about another game, I'll ask another question real quick. Thinking about contenders and pretenders. Anybody strike your mind on the whole contender side? People who you might not have thought that they played this well up to this point?
Right now, and it pains my heart to say this. Pains my heart. Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. I hate them. Like I
do. I'm trying to remove all salt from any future comments, but
yeah, they got 5 straight wins. That D line is legit. Like
yep,
and the linebacking core is crazy.
Yep.
The offense isn't great, but it's a little predictable. But they seem to be getting better.
I think that that'll be a big thing. You look at their last 2 big statement wins, right? You mentioned that they ran 5 straight, but the last 2 big statement wins come off the Saints with that crazy offense. But we knew their defense was good. Mm-hmm. But they put 13 points up.
Yeah.
They put 13 points up. And Ezekiel Elliott still had an amazing game. And then you look at tonight when they play the Eagles, it's just like, all right, well, they ended up giving up. I want to say it was like 23 before that ridiculous Amari Cooper catch. But even still, for the first half of the game was still like we went, I think, 3 straight 3-and-outs and then a fumble, and the score was 9-0.
Yeah.
So I think their inability to put points on the board will hurt them long term. But when you got a running game and a defense, you can afford for your quarterback to be as inaccurate as Dak Prescott has been.
True. They can really play the old football, run the ball, play action, not take too many shots. But I think Amari Cooper really changes their dynamic on offense. A lot of people were doubting him, but I think that it was a big pickup. Amari Cooper can play.
Was that first-round pick worth it?
If they make it to the playoffs, it definitely will pay you dividends.
I agree. I think it was worth it in the sense that it gives them a chance to see who Dak Prescott is when he actually has a reliable target, and it also gives them a chance to where I don't think that team, although they're young at quarterback and running back, that team is not built for longevity. Like their entire offensive line is injury prone at this point. Yeah, they're talented, but Tyron Smith finally gets back and can't keep his hands in front of an edge rusher. Zach Martin just went down again. So we'll see how they fare long term. I think another team that surprised me was the Colts going and beating the Texans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting that. They get held to 0 points the week before, and then this week they slow down a very powerful offense.
Yep.
Yeah, they finally are able to get some cohesion on the offensive line for Andrew Luck, keep him off the ground. And, a quarterback will be completely different if they're not getting hit all the time. So it's definitely looking up for them.
I think people honestly forget how special Andrew Luck is. Because you think about the same type of question, who else is on that receiving core outside of T.Y. Hilton?
Jack Doyle.
Right? Actually, I think Jack Doyle was hurt.
Yeah, he is actually. He is. Eric Ebron.
Yeah, Ebron's been balling out. But that's the point. They went into the season with Ryan Grant being their number 2 receiver.
Yep.
He was playing Washington. I mean, it clearly doesn't matter because T.Y. Hilton had like 199 yards today. So he is their receiving core.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I think that'll be a team to watch. They got a young, hungry linebacking core. I feel like they don't get enough because they don't play in Dallas. They don't get the same conversation that Vander Esch and Jalen Smith get. But I think that there'll be a team to watch going down the stretch and fighting for the wild card spot.
Definitely.
Gotcha. Any other notes?
Somebody's losing a job in Carolina by the end of next week.
And it might be Cam. No, it's not going to be Cam. But
No.
Yeah.
It'll be Cam at the end of the season, not now.
I agree.
You think he's out of Carolina?
Well, when's his contract up?
Ooh, that is a good question.
I think as soon as it's up, he's done.
Yep. I think
done playing football.
Jeff called the Carolina self-destruction. And that was exactly what that game was earlier. You can't let – I mean, Baker Mayfield played a great game, but –
Yeah, he really did. I think that second touchdown throw to Jarvis Landry where he put it between two defenders, that was –
Yeah, that was a dot. Baker Mayfield definitely played out of his mind. And I think to your point, Jeff, you made a statement earlier that it's almost like it pains him to throw the ball down the field. Like anytime he has to brace and completely put his entire body like behind throws downfield.
That same effort was
that offensive line.
Yep.
Well, that's what happens whenever you don't have good mechanics. You rely too much on your brute strength.
I don't think that's him. I don't think that's his fault. I think it's a matter of Cam Newton was so talented growing up that none of his coaches ever corrected his talent with technique. Yeah, it's just like he keeps throwing the ball off his back foot, but I mean, it went 80 yards down the field. So, yeah, we'll work on that next time, Cameron.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's also 6'5" and 260 pounds. So we'll worry about that other stuff. And then his guard is getting pushed into his lap every play.
True. That is true.
So, yeah.
That is true. But the Browns, man, they're going to be a team to watch next season. Just to see who becomes their head coach, and to see if they make any or what changes they make in the offseason, because they've got a lot of talent on that team, and they're a really tough matchup for a lot of teams.
I agree. And you look at the biggest thing I saw from Baker Mayfield, and Carolina's pass rush will continue to struggle until they get somebody that doesn't have an AARP card on the edge. But his ability to manipulate and move through the pocket, that's going to be big down. He believes in his offensive line, although they've been porous for the better half of a decade. And he understands that as long as he can create time, he has the receivers that go downfield. And his receivers drop a lot of ball.
Yeah.
But going forward, that'll help out a lot.
Definitely.
All right, so this looking forward into tomorrow's game. Tomorrow night is Chicago, Minnesota?
I believe so.
Yeah.
What do we have in that game?
Who's the home team?
Mitchell Trubisky comes back.
Mitch is back, and I think they're at Soldier Field.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is that how it's pronounced? Is it Soldier? I think it is Soldier.
Yeah.
And then I get that confused with the left tackle who plays for the Giants now, like Nate Solder. There's no I there. It's weird. But yeah, Mitch is back. Khalil Mack in that defense is still humming. Akeem Hicks.
Actually, Chicago plays the Rams tonight.
Oh, okay.
And then Minnesota and the Seahawks play tomorrow.
Gosh.
Okay.
So, good games coming up.
Are we doing picks?
Let's see.
Let's go. Who's ever playing the Seahawks? And I guess the only way that game helps me is if it ends in a tie. But yeah, you think about the Vikings and as good as that defense was last year, and they're not quite hard enough holding up their bargain or their side to what we thought they would. But we thought that with like actually having a competent quarterback under center in Kirk Cousins, and I think that's a fair word to use him, is competent.
Yeah.
But
now, Kirk
when
Cousins
you look at that money,
go ahead.
My fault. When you look at that money, are you giving a competent quarterback that type of money?
Yeah, because competent means you can get the job done, right?
Yeah.
Or do you want like something higher than competence?
I feel like he's the highest paid quarterback in the league. He has 4 wins against winning teams. He's clearly not getting the job done when he's supposed to get the job done.
Yeah, but Case Keenum took them pretty far last season, and this is definitely an upgrade from Case Keenum. I just feel like maybe they need more time to gel, or whatever.
I don't know, man.
I like
Case
to give
is
him
in
to
Denver
the
hooping. Case is in Denver balling right now. Are we sure that they should have gave it to Case Keenum instead of giving it to Kirk Cousins?
I feel like they should have gave it to Case. Honestly, personally.
You do?
Yeah, because he was able to take them there. Oh, Teddy Bridgewater, no.
But Teddy Bridgewater was Dak Prescott before we had Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Except he didn't give the ball away.
And I don't feel like they gave him an opportunity once he was healthy again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They shipped him out.
They did. I just feel like I'm just nervous with the Vikings offensive line not being great, and since he had that catastrophic knee injury, I just feel like you just gotta just go ahead. You got another guy who's kind of similar. Just go ahead and let him go.
So my question to you guys, and this will be our final note, because we've seen some terrible quarterback play this week. We watched Mark Sanchez throw for a net passer rating of 0.0.
Yeah.
And then his fourth string, because you got to remember their first 2 quarterbacks are down, so technically means although he's the backup, he was their fourth option. Came in and tossed up 2 touchdowns against a team that knows you're not going to do anything but pass. Look at the Jaguars and there. Man, I was on vacation. Nobody wants to see anything. I'm telling you, I'm on a cruise ship with like a 100-inch television right above a pool. I'm drinking. Nobody wants to watch a game that terrible.
No.
Yeah, no.
So the question is, when you look at like these teams who are clearly struggling with quarterback play, and we understand that Washington didn't see Alex Smith and Colt McCoy dying in like back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, but you can't prepare for that.
There's no way to prepare for that, especially that we don't even know if Alex Smith is going to play again at this time.
Right.
Yeah.
At what point in time do you? I got some terrible notes from our producers, but all the best wishes to the Smith family as he fights his infection from the complications for the surgery. But we look at it now. At what point in time do you start to look for other moves? At what point in time and I think the Redskins are a prime example. It's just like you're still in it. I think technically speaking, they're tied with us right now. They're tied for second place.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are somehow.
And you chose Mark Sanchez?
And that's the thing. Do you take that risk and continue to try to play at a high level to get into the playoffs and just be embarrassed? Or
then I think at that point you got to find a kid. You find a kid. You find he was on our team, he was on our scouting board. He didn't get picked up by a team, and let's talk about what he could do for us, because who knows going forward, we might need him on the roster. You don't go get a 9-year vet who hasn't seen a pigskin in who knows how long.
Right.
To come and run your system.
True. That is true. Man, I mean, honestly, I thought the Redskins had reached their peak for this season anyway. Like they were just going to go downhill from here anyway. But they gotta find a young guy, do something. But this is the same team who let both like their number 1 and number 2 receivers leave in the same offseason.
Yep.
And didn't do anything.
Thought Josh Doxson was going to be a lot better than he was, and I won't front on you. I did too. Then also they bring in Paul Richardson from Seattle, and he's been a disappointment when he can stay on the field. I mean, they've just been. I think the only team who's been comparable injury-wise to the Eagles so far has been the Redskins. They're missing their entire front offensive line. They're missing the defense has remain kind of healthy, but then you look at their receivers. Doxson's missed time. They've had Richardson, Trey Quinn, the guy they were really excited about, just went on IR. They haven't been able to stay healthy, so it's inconsistent quarterback play would play a big part in that if the receivers were actually playing right.
Yeah.
And Vernon Davis is washed. We have to end this and wrap this up. I just want this to be our last note that Vernon Davis is washed, and there has to be other young, talented players that
they've got another
Redskins organization pick up.
He's been washed for the last 2 seasons at least.
Yes. And he flashes like, oh, is that old? Nope. Very next game. Drops the game for a touchdown. Oh, God, he's absolutely terrible. Well, we appreciate you guys for coming in and hanging out with us. We're going to give you guys a little bit. Make sure you go listen to the Get Ripped podcast. Also on the Gig Network. We also have the Stretch 4 and a couple other shows that I'm blanking on because I've been drinking my sorrows down. So you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Core4 5. I'll let the other guys give their means of communication.
Check us out on Instagram at Get Ripped Pod. Like, subscribe, follow. We follow back.
Do all those things.
This is Corey, and as always, I'm going to come in with the dirty work at the end of the podcast. Just remember to subscribe wherever you see podcasts. That helps people get to subscribe and rate us, because the rating also helps people get to see the podcast and they get to know that it's out there, and we appreciate it. Also, if you get a chance, go to gigpodcasting.network. That is the website for the entire network of podcasts, and so you'll be able to see all the podcasts that we offer. This one, as well as our Gig Essentials podcast, as well as the RPO podcast, Stretch 4, the Lamar and Corey show, as well as the Get Ripped guys. One other thing, we know that supporting the podcast is sometimes kind of hard. Everybody has financial issues, but if you can't financially support the podcast by clicking on the link in the show notes, then definitely go to gigpodcasting.network. We have a number of affiliates that we've been gracious enough to work with. Click on their links. It'll take you to their websites. A lot of times give you special offers, and it helps us, and we appreciate it. Please help the people who are helping us. Until the next one, peace.